In this video, I'll be reviewing set 76294, the X Mansion. This set has 3,093 pieces and it retails for $330 US, but more on the price later. This set comes with 10 minifigures, and that leads us right into our first portion of the review. First up is Wolverine, and as you can see, he has a very nice and detailed torso piece, as well as a very cool looking cowl. He also comes with his claws that you can attach to his hands, but there are some downsides to this minifigure as he does not have any arm printing, as we saw on the CMF showing hair, and also the legs look a little bit weird, as you can see the yellow peeks through on the legs. But on the back, he also has a continuation of good torso printing that is very detailed and looks very crisp. And you can take off his cowl to reveal a kind of goggle-looking face print on the front, which does look a little bit weird. And he also has a alternate face with some hair that you can put on if you don't want to use his cowl. Next up is Professor X, who features his floating wheelchair, which I think is a nice looking build, and I really liked the inclusion here. And also, I think it looks good on the back too, and uses some nice tile slope pieces. But apart from the floating wheelchair, I do not really like the Professor X minifigure very much, as his suit is blue and it is supposed to be green as we see in the show. And also, I do not love the face very much because it looks very young and kind of looks odd next to Magneto. But all in all, the suit looks okay, but I think they were really just doing these prints to keep down costs and use prints that were already available and in stock. Next up is Storm, which I think looks really nice. I think the prints here are all on point. I really like the little lightning bolt things that you can attach to her hands, and I also think the kind of cloth cape thing that goes onto her hands look very nice. I feel like Lego's always done a good job with that, and also on the back looks very nice. And I think the hair detail looks really cool. It looks really cool in that white color, and then you can also take off that hairpiece to turn around a alternate headpiece that shows her more in a smiling face rather than a serious face. Next, we have Cyclops, which I think features some very nice print detailing, although it does have a little bit of that kind of blue going through the yellow printing that is put over the original blueprint, which I don't think looks the best, but I don't think it's as prevalent on him as it is on others. But all in all, I think he looks pretty good, and you don't notice that too much. And you can also use this little handheld piece that you can put on his hand to show him using his beam, and it jets out very nicely. And he also has a serious face that you can put instead of his somewhat kind of smirk face. Now we have Jean Grey, which I think has some nice torso print. I think it's right on point, although she does not have any leg print, which isn't the biggest deal. And her face isn't looking the best. As you can see, it is kind of pale, as we've had that same problem with other minifigures. But she does have some nice hair, and also I think she has a cool shoulder pad piece, which I think is a good inclusion there. And she also is holding some pieces that show her using her powers. And you can also take off her hair to reveal a more serious and fighting face instead of a more settled and happy face. Next up, we have Rogue, which has some nice leg printing, but the torso is not looking the best here. As you can see, the same problem again is with the yellow there. We can see the green is peeking through and making the yellow look all weird. Although her face does look nice, and I think her hair looks really good with that streak of white going through it. But on the back, her torso looks completely good, and I think it fits really nicely. And I think that Think Lego did a great job with the torso on the back. And you can take off her hairpiece to reveal a kind of smiling face instead of the more battle face where she looks all mad. Next up, we have Iceman, which is possibly my favorite minifigure here because I think all of the printing is great. I think there's no problems whatsoever. It is exactly what I wanted, and I'm just glad that we got this minifigure in general because I don't think we ever have, but correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. And he is also holding some pieces that show him using his ice powers, which is really nice that they included that. So, next up, we have Gambit, which I think looks pretty good all around. His torso piece looks super great, great printing, and it continues down to his legs, which I also think looks really nice. And he is holding a cool looking staff, which is just the basic Lego staff. And then he also has a really nice looking hair piece, and his torso does continue to have some printing on the back, which I also think looks really nice. But we do have the problem of the pale face there on the front and back of that face, but he does have a alternate face if you want to use his more mad face. And he also features a piece of him using his powers, as we have seen other people have had in this set, featuring that he is throwing his cards. Next up, we have Bishop, which I also think looks really good. He, I think, is perfect in his printing. He has amazing, amazing printing on his legs and his torso and his face. I also think looks great, and I also really like the hair piece. I think it looks amazing on the back. He also has some really nice torso piecing on the back, and also the gun that he has I also think is really cool, and it was a fun time to build that. And he also has a more just settled, not fighting face that is on the back there that you can use if you would like to instead. And lastly, we have Magneto, which he has a little floating piece there and has some good torso printing, no leg printing, but that's not the biggest deal. He also has a cool helmet and a like rubber cape, which I thought was kind of cool. And then he also has some pieces on his hands showing that he is using his powers, and the cape covers up the printing that is in the back. Sorry, I forgot to take off the cape to show you, but my bad there. And then he also has a alternate face and also some hair piece that looks very cool. So if you'd rather not use his helmet, you could go ahead and do that and put him in his more not fighting face. So that is the end of the minifigures. Now we have the side build Sentinel, which I think looks really nice. It articulates really well, and it also has this piece on the back where you can hook on a minifigure with the translucent piece right there. And he also has a little like snatcher thing so we can pick up the mutants and fight them and stuff. And he also has a cool and printed face there, which I think was great that that was not a sticker. Yeah, but all around, I think he just looks really smooth, articulates really nice, and I just think he's pretty perfect all around. And now we have the main part of the set, which is obviously the X Mansion. So this set shows some like battle scene areas where things are flying off the building and up from the ground, like the fire hydrant and the street lamp, which I think looks really nice. And the set also has some greenery in the yard there, and also shows a sticker piece showing Xavier's school. And up top, we have a balcony with some doors leading out to it, and then we also have a couple sticker pieces up here, and then also some cool detailing up there next to the roof. And now onto the back, it has quite a bit of detailing, a lot of sticker pieces showing some Easter eggs, and then also a basketball hoop, and of course the dumpster and a basketball back there. And as we can also see, there are some holes within the set that allows you to put minifigures and hook them up using the translucent pieces. But yeah, all in all, I think it's a cool and detailed looking back. Now onto the roof, I think it looks really cool, nice and sleek, and utilizes the slope pieces really nicely. And there's also a play feature, which I think is just great, and it can just shoot off like the top part of the roof there. And you can also take apart each of these sections of the building. It comes apart into three sections, which you actually build each of them separately. But onto the first part, the middle, which you can take off the different floors and the rooftop. And starting off with the first floor of the middle section of the build, we can see a kind of cool looking lobby area where we see some chairs, and then also the X symbol there, and then a like kind of some pottery, I think, there on the left, and also a plant, and then there's an elevator which will take you up to the next floor, which is sort of a experimentation slash cerebro room. So they had to try to jam a few different things in here. So we see that it features a kind of x-ray machine, I think, type thing right here. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then we can see a x-ray of Wolverine's arm underneath the little x-ray bed thing. Then up top we see a translucent piece which features a sticker that is indicating a map. And then over here we have some drawers which have some files and different details on top. And over here on the right we have Cerebro and a sticker piece, which I wish that they could have dedicated more space to that, but they had to jam it in where they could. And then the elevator right here that you took from the bottom floor. And now we are on to the left side of the build, which you can also, of course, take apart. And now on the inside in the hallway, we can see a sticker piece showing a newscaster on the TV there, then also some newspapers on the floor. And then on the other side of the door, we can see the danger room, which features many different gadgets that the X-Men use to train. And you can also take apart this floor a little bit so you can get your hands in there, since there's not a whole lot of space, so you can better articulate your minifigures. And now onto the second floor, which shows the control area, then also I think a chess game there on the floor. And then on the other side, we have an extension of the danger room, which just shows more gadgets for the X-Men to train. And then you can actually take off some pieces on the outside of this floor too, so you can better articulate minifigures. And I'll actually show you. I put some minifigures in here so that you could see what it would look like if you were to put some of them in training. So it is a little bit crammed in there, but it is what it is. It was a little bit hard to get them around in there, but I think it looks pretty cool. And now on to the last part of the build, which is the right side. So on the inside of the first floor, we can see a little kind of library bookcase area here in the hall, which is right outside of the teaching area, which we can see a blackboard here on the wall, then also some desks and a globe on the little side table there. And then we have a blackboard with also a TV screen up top, which you can actually slide around in order to reveal some plans back here to fight the Sentinels. And you can slide this around just by moving this air vent right here on the back. And now on to the second floor, which shows a desk and computer and some spilled coffee in the hallway. And then also on the left, we see a calendar. On the right, we see a sword. And then we see several beds up top here, and we also see some different sticker pieces as well as some drawers here with some details on top. And lastly, I wanted to just show you the whole set with minifigures in there and also the Sentinel. And I just wanted to show you how you can put them in here to show them as the battle. I have this like very similar to just the way it looks on the box art, so I thought you might want to see it for yourself and not just on the box, but be able to see how it would look in person if you were to have the set. And I personally think it looks really great, and I am very, very excited to be able to put this in my city. Well, guys, I think that about concludes my in-depth review of this set. But as always, I would like to give some final thoughts and critiques of the set and even things that I actually really liked about the set. So, first off, I would like to say I do love this set, and obviously I do because I bought it with my own money, and I did not buy it just to review it. I bought it because I actually really wanted it. I think it's going to look great in my Lego City, and I have a great spot for it. So, actually, starting there, that actually leads me into one of my critiques of the set. So obviously everyone's saying this. People don't like how the set is pushed back super far, and how the the grassy area and sidewalk are just way too big. So yeah, I think that is absolutely right. I don't think it looks super great up to your standard modular building. It is way too far back. It looks really off. And also, it is not as tall as almost any of them. I think it's probably the shortest modular building we've ever had. So yeah, it looks out of place for sure. So where I'm placing it in my city, it's not going to, because it isn't directly up against anything, and I'm going to actually make a video about that, showing you how I'm going to place it in my city so that it does not look weird, and how I'm going to set that up. So yeah, feel free to watch that. I'll be coming out with that in the nearish future, so stay tuned for that. Another issue is the minifigures. First of all, there are not a lot of them. I'd say 10 is pretty low for this price of a set. If this set was cheaper, I could understand. If this was like at like 300, I'd be like, okay, I mean, that's still a great price. Like, because, yeah, I'd say that would be a great price for what you're getting. But I feel like $330 is pushing it for the minifigures we're getting here, and especially um, the way they were made. So, first of all, I'd like to say that the minifigures, they're lacking in a lot of areas, whether it be the amount of prints, or, as I said before, the way the prints look. So, a lot of them, such as Gambit and also Jean Grey, their faces are very, very pale, as I said before. So I'm just like, come on, Lego, like, like you can't get this right on a $330 Lego set. So that's a big problem, because they printed the face over dark the dark color that was already on that headpiece, so it's insanely pale coming through. And it's not only on the faces, even on this torso here for Rogue, you can see that, as I said before, that the green is making the yellow here kind of like a greenish yellow, and it just does not match the pants at all. There's some similar problems with Cyclops, and yeah, so all around you see this all the time. Just like the prints are just kind of ridiculous. Like, he is supposed to have green a green suit, and he does not. Professor X also just looks too young compared to Magneto here. It's just like they're supposed to be relatively the same age, but he looks so young. Like, what's up with that? And I feel like a lot of that is because they were trying to cut back on the cost, so they used all of the prints and whatever from people that they already had before, because this is Michael Scott's torso from the Office sets. So I feel like they're making some pretty drastic cuts on some of these minifigures in areas where it's not great. It isn't feeling great for the amount of money that you are spending for this set. I feel like you deserve a lot more for paying that price tag. So I'd say the minifigures are very disappointing for me anyway. But the minifigures can be just described as accents to the set, as not the whole set. So I definitely do care a lot more about the main build and the minifigures, at least for me anyway. But I can definitely see a lot of people being upset, and rightfully so, over the prints on the minifigures, because this is supposed to be a premium set. So yeah, enough about that. But there are some good prints. I actually really like the way Iceman here looks. I think his print is great. I actually really like the way Iceman looks. So yeah, or Bishop. I also really like the way Bishop looks. And yeah, so overall, I mean, the minifigures are a little bit of a disappointment. So, also, another thing to keep in mind, there are a lot of stickers in the set. I personally don't mind stickers that much. It's not a big deal for me. So, if you're someone who doesn't like stickers, I would keep that in mind for sure. Speaking of stickers, this Sentinel actually comes with some battle scar stickers that are extras that you don't have to put them on, but it is there if you want. I did not put the battle scar stickers on him because I just don't want to put on more stickers because I mean I don't love stickers, but it's kind of like for me it's like kind of whatever. I could take it or leave it, but for the most part, I like the stickers that are included in the set, and obviously they can't make everything print. I wish they could have made a few things print. It feels like they were kind of lacking in that area. But yeah, so another issue that some people might have with the set is that there just isn't enough space on the inside, isn't enough space to get your hand inside of the build, which for me, I feel like from playing around with it and getting my hands in there. I feel like it's fine for me. I mean, my hands aren't giant, but they're pretty medium size. So I don't know. For me anyway, I think it's fine. I don't have a big problem with it. And if they made the set bigger and added a bunch more stuff to the insides like people wanted, that would just drive up the price tag even more. And I feel like I'm glad that they did not. I'm honestly glad they didn't make it any bigger because it would just bring the price tag up so much that people like me who don't have unlimited amount of money or aren't getting free sets from Lego to review aren't going to be able to get those sets because they're just too expensive. So I feel like I'm glad with the way they landed on this, and you can definitely put this in your city if you are strategic about the way that you are placing it. So, and I feel like for just a standalone piece, if you display it somewhere, I feel like this is going to for sure look great. I like all this open space. You can set up all your minifigures, make them all battle the Sentinel and Magneto, and I think that looks great. So yeah, so a lot of downers, so I wanted to end with some positive stuff here. And yeah, so overall, yeah, I actually had a great time building this. There are great things on the inside. There's some great details. All in all, I think it's a good set, but just there are some drawbacks and things to think about. But that did not prevent me from buying the set, and I don't think it should for you either. If you want to get the set, I would say go for it because if you like what you see here, I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all when you get the set, and the building experience is just fantastic. So, all in all, great set. I recommend it. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell button so you can stay tuned on our newest stuff. So, I will see you guys in the next one.